Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's class. We're continuing on our introduction to Pandas data structures. In the last class, we looked at series. Okay, so remember that, as I mentioned in the last class, at the heart of Pandas is the two primary data structures uh, on which all transactions, which are generally made during the analysis of data, are centralized. And the first one is series, and then the second one is data frames. Last time we considered the series, so if you haven't seen the video, you should go to the link. You'll find the link just below this video where you can access what was done in that class. Okay, today we're going to do data frames. Data frames are just the multi-dimensional version of series. So let's see how this is done. Again, you have to import your NumPy and Pandas, and dictionary is used to create a data frame. So here's a dictionary. I'm defining my dictionary here. So, and then I'm going to use it to create the data frame. Okay. So you pass it as an argument for the data frame, and then you get the data frame. Now, essentially, when you do this, dictionary has a key and a value. Okay. So the keys will become the columns. Remember that data frame is more like a spreadsheet. It's got columns and rows. Then you have the entries. So these are going to become your columns, and this will become the values inside the table. Okay. This is a second column. This is the values, and so on. And this is the third column, and these are the values. Okay. Because we haven't indicated any index here, the pandas is automatically going to generate an index according to the number of rows we have. Okay. So let's just run that. So this is what you get. So this is automatically generated. The indices are automatically generated here. These are the columns that we have specified, and then these are the corresponding uh, values. Okay, so this is a column. So the column name is the key for that, and then the value will be the entries in that column. Okay, and then you can ask for the index. The index is just going to give you to uh, zero to two. Okay, 0, 1, 2. It stops at Python stops at 2, not at 3 in this case. Okay, one less the stop point, and then you can get the values, which are going to be this list elements that you have here. Okay, these are the values, and then you can ask for the columns, because the columns will give you class, total, and grade. And then you can ask for the size. So this is more like 3 by 3. So you have 3 rows and 3 columns. Okay, and that's the size of that. Okay, 9. Okay, so what usually happens is that we might have a very huge dictionary, and we only need maybe like 2 columns from that dictionary. Okay, so the easy way to do that is to take the dictionary as an input, and then you select the number of columns you want. Okay, so let's say we are working with this same dictionary, but now we just want 2 columns. So the column corresponding to, uh, so let me just do the dictionary again here. So what was it called? It's called dictionary. Okay, I'm just going to put it here. So dict, and you run that, you get that. So it's got this. And we only want the column corresponding to class and grade. So we don't want the total score. So you just select what you want, put it as put it inside the PD, the data frame function, and then you just create. Uh, so your data frame doesn't have the column total score, just these two. Okay. You can of course decide that you want it to just give you only the grade, column that has the grade only. You have that. Okay. You might decide, okay, no, I don't want 0, 1, 2 as the indices. I want to change it to something more reasonable, just as we did in the case of the series. So I just want, instead of 0, 1, 2, I want number 1, number 2, number 3. Okay, so you pass a new argument here, which is index, and again you're selecting the whole of that. Actually, I'm going to remove that because I don't want to select. I'm just going to work the whole dictionary. Okay, yes. So you have this dictionary, but we just changed the indices. Okay, and now you can create. So let's create a new data frame, which is the values are one up to 15. So that's what this command gives you. So let me just run it so that you see what it is. Uh, it's NumPy uh, arrange. So when you run that, it's just going to give you 0 to 15, rather. And then what we are going to do is to reshape it. So if you reshape it, it gives you a 4 by 4 array. Okay, and that's what happens. So let's put that here. Uh, so one more. So what you get is a 4 by 4. So now what this command is doing is that we are now saying put indices to be these values, and then they put the column to be that, and then that's the data frame. So you take this as the input, which is that, and then you say what your indices have to be and what the columns have to be. Okay, and then that gives you this data frame. So essentially, we are putting names to the columns and names to the rows. Okay. Okay. Now let's do another example. Again, similar thing. We do a 5 by 5. Sorry, 100 by 20 by 5. Sorry, in this case, and then we just don't tamper with the indices because it's quite long. So we just want to change. We just want to put the column names to them, and that's what you have. Okay, that's your data frame 5. Okay, so if you want to select just one of the columns, you just put that the column name as an argument. So say we want to select this column here, so everything in that column eraser, you just pass it as an argument to the frame, uh, and that gives you that. Okay, so that's four number 4. It just selects the row and the corresponding element for that column. This doesn't look like a data frame, as you can see. So if you want that to be a data frame, you just put it, pass it as an argument to this function, and now you have your data frame. Now, what happens is automatically when you're selecting more than one columns, uh, if you're selecting two or more columns, then it's going to automatically put it as a data frame. Okay, so like in this case, you don't need to use this command. It just gives you that. Okay, so iLog is okay. So essentially, we don't use. I'm gonna use iLog here. Okay, um, so we use iLog with the index value of the row that we want to extract. Okay, so let's say we want to extract the row number 1. Okay, okay, so that's this row here. It contains 9 and 5. When you do that, sorry, this is for the, sorry, not for this guy, it's for the frame 5. Okay, frame 5 is the big one. So let's go back here. It's this one here. So this is the row that he just extracted. Okay, obviously it hasn't put it in that form. If you want to put it in that form, you need to transpose that. Okay, um, let me just transpose. You know what the transpose is? Just transpose of matrix. We just switches the rows with the columns. Okay, that doesn't seem to work here, but anyway, fine. We'll do it here. So okay, now you put this as data frame. Um, so this is selecting. I still want to do that one. Okay, let's do just that one first. Okay, now it's okay. So we don't need to transpose anything. Okay, I'm gonna remove that. Okay, and you can select more than one. You can select 1 and 3, and then you have that. So that's 1 and 3. You can add 0 here, the first one. Okay. Okay. Any number of rows that you want to select. Let's say you want to select the next one, 10. In fact, you want 10 to be the first thing here. Okay. You can put it first. And that's what you get. Okay. And of course, this one here is saying select all the rows from the first ones of this, the 0th one to the 6th one. Okay. Sorry, 0 to the 6th one, yes. Okay. Um, so remember 0 to 6th one. By 6th one, I mean the row number 5. Okay. So that's 6 of them. And again, we've already done this. You know what output should be. And now this is a column, and we are selecting the first 0, 1, the first two entries in that column. Okay, so that's what we have. You can select 3 of them. That's what you have. Of course, if you want this to be a data frame, you have to put it inside a data frame, and you have that. You have to pass it as argument inside this function. You get that. And here, so we are looking at our data frame 5, and we are selecting 2 columns, eraser and pen, and then we are selecting the rows corresponding to these numbers. Okay, that's exactly what we are doing. So that numbers what we are doing. Okay, so remember that everything's got a name except our. So you see, we know that these are our columns, and our rows are this one. So we can actually give them names. Okay, so that's what we do here. So we say our index.name. So frame5.index.name. So we're trying to give a name to our indices. We call them m rows. And then the same for columns. Frame5.columns.name, we call it m columns. So now when you run frame5, now they both have names. So you now have this name for the columns and this name here for the rows. Okay. Okay, so here we want to add a new column. Okay. First of all, let me select no, not yet. So I want to select just part of the. So we have this data frame. We want to add a column to it. Okay, and the column we want to add is called tables, and we want the entries of that tables to be just 1 to 6. Well, 1 to 6. Okay. Um, okay. So let me run this first. So it's 1 to 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 because I'm taking 5 numbers because I have 5 rows. Okay, and I'm going to add a new column here which is called tables with the values from this array. Okay, so that's what we have. So you just say frame 6 uh, tables. This is our frame 6. You add this is saying this column called tables. We have the values new. Okay, and when you run that, now you have a new column here which has this value. Okay, and you can access elements in there. So frame 6 tables 5. So you go to frame 6, which is that. You go to tables and you go to the 5th row. Uh, sorry, the row with. You should think of these things as key. I think the best way to think of them is as key. So you're looking for the row which is called 5. Okay, and you select the value in that column. Okay. Um, if you wanted to select more than that, you can say, okay, now I want not just that, I want the one with 4. And in this order. Okay, so you see how I swap them, and that's going to give you the in that order. So it's saying in this table, if you look at this table, the 5th row is got 5 and the 4th row is got 4. Okay, and you could have put any other 10 there. So now you're going for the first row is got 1. Okay. Okay. Right, so let's see how to delete a column. So we can delete this column here, tables that we pull. Just use the command del frame 6 tables. Okay. And if you wanted to delete more, so if you do that, you're going to get frame 6. Now we have that column deleted. If you wanted to delete more than that, so again, you have to pass the argument inside it. So let's say we wanted to delete ball and table. So just type ball, table. Okay. And once you run that, now you have uh, you have okay. So something is wrong. Yeah. Let's see. Let's see. Uh, right. So this is not that's good. So not good. Sorry. Not gonna work. Okay. Sorry about that. It doesn't work. Allowed. We can do that. Okay. So let's just continue. Um, um, let's run frame 6 again, and then we're on. Hmm, what have I done wrong here? Ah, I already deleted tables. Okay. Sorry. Let's see. Uh, yeah, that's a problem. I have already deleted the tables, and I can do anything with it again. Okay, I can be working with it after I delete it. That's what happened. But anyway, let's continue. Um, yeah, I've already deleted it now, so trying to delete it the second time, that's why we're getting the error. Okay. So let's ask for membership. So membership is so the command here is in. So that's the function. So you're asking if this number 29 is in this data frame. Okay. So what it's going to do is going to check each of the values, and if it's there, it's going to put true. If it's not there, it's going to put false. Okay. And that's what you get. So you get so only 29 is just here, so it puts true. And every other place it puts false. Okay, so you can see how to use that to look at things, maybe a number, or maybe you want to select look for something strange or something like that. You know how to find that. Okay, now you can also look for values which are more than 19. Again, it's going to give you a boolean. Looking for it's going to put you know not a number here, and then every number that is more than 19 will come up. Okay, and now let's see how to. So we basically we take what we did so far is to create a data frame using just knowing what the columns are, and then the pandas will automatically use 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 as number of rows as the indices, right? But we can do all this together. We can create everything where we actually put the names for the indices and the names for the columns as we want it. And that's what nested dictionaries does. Okay. So here we're creating a data frame from this nested dictionary. So let me explain to you how this works. This is a dictionary, of course. Okay. This is a dictionary, but inside this dictionary you have other dictionaries. So for here, for this one, this is going to be the name of a column. Okay. And under that column, you're going to have the rows. So this is row one. So this is a row with this entry. This is a row with that entry. And we are done. Okay. We're done. Okay. And this is another column. And this is a row with this value. And this is a row with that value. And we're done. Okay. I'm just going to run that. And you see. So we have these things here are our columns, and the names inside there are our rows, and then they have the values. So it's not difficult to do that. Okay, and I can tell you that if you mistakenly type two things, for example, let's see. All right, okay, so I explained to you what I wanted. Let me just run this. So if you look here, we have NaN. Okay, this means that, and the problem there is that we have a row called tablet, which does not feature in this one, for example. This one only has rows, values for phones and laptops. There is nothing about tablets here. So you put NaN. So if you wanted to correct that, let's say if you know the tablet was there, um, and you put maybe a 0 there. So that will replace the NaN with a 0. Okay, so now you have a 0 there. Okay, and that's how it works. So actually, okay, I made a mistake. We want to create a new column. Okay, I just want to put a 0 there, and you have the 0. Okay, and there is no tablet here, so put NaN. Okay. Um. Okay. Let's create another one. Okay, so this is just a dictionary. Okay, I want to use the created data frame. This is data frame here. Okay, so it's similar to the same thing, just that I'm using numbers now for my rows and these as columns. Again, NaN is because no value was given in this case. And as I told you before, you can do transpose. You can exchange the rows with the columns. Okay, that's what this command does. Now the rows have become the columns and the columns become the rows. Okay. Um, Now you can try to find which, where the location of the maximum element and maximum value in the table is and where the minimum element. So this is what this command does. So we are taking our data frame, which is nest df, and we are asking for the ID of the minimum. Okay. Uh, so what it does is, okay, we're looking at this. Okay. So it looks at red. Okay. So red is this column, and it looks for the minimum element. So in this case, the minimum element is here. Sorry, this is the minimum element here. It's at 2017. Okay, so it tells you where it is. So it's in 2017. Okay, and so on. If you go to the maximum, for example, it says in the blue column, the maximum is in 2012. So if you go to the blue column, the maximum is really here, which is 2012. Okay, that's what it does. So the command again is the name of the data frame .id xmax. Okay. Okay. So let's now do re-indexing. Dropping and actually we're not going to do alignment, so I'm gonna remove that. Okay. Okay. So you have your data frame. So DF1 is data frame where we arranged 25 values. Reshape, we've seen that, and you put the indices and the column. So when you run that, you have this table. And what you want to do, let's say you want to reshuffle the row, you don't want it to appear as A, B, C, D, you want to mix it up. So this is what one this the first row to be B, the second row to be D, and so on. Okay, so what you need to do is just to pass, you take your data frame and you use dot with index. Reindex is the function, and you just say how you want the rows to look like. Remember, you're not introducing any new names. You're just shuffling things around. You say move row B to be the first row and row D to be the second row. That's how you want to. More like a shuffling the rows. And when you do that, you just have that. Okay, and you can do the same for the columns as well. You just have to pass the function, the column the way you want it to be, and you have that. Okay. But if you try to introduce, see what if you try, you can add a new name. Okay, for example, if you're adding a new name, it's like you're adding a new column. Okay, so let's say if I didn't want the column, okay, I'm just gonna keep that. Okay, for now, clip. Let's just call this I don't know, new new call. Okay. I'm not. There's no values for this new call. So this is what's going to happen is that it's going to create a new column, but with no entries there. Okay, there's nothing there. Okay. Okay. This is what I actually wanted to explain here too. But okay, there are no new. There are no values there. Okay, and of course you can assign values there, but okay, yeah. And if you didn't want to, if you wanted to exclude one of these columns, you can just sort of remove them, uh, and it just gives you the remaining columns. Okay, this is one way to drop a column. Okay, so that's just dropping. Okay, so let's look at. Okay, let's look at this. We've seen this before. and I tell you how to drop a column. It's actually what I just mentioned. So you can drop a column just by removing that. Co- so these are the rows. You can drop a row by just selecting the ones you want and leaving the rest. Okay. And so I'm dropping the rest apart from A, B, and C. And again, you can drop a column by just you know, um, just by saying df6 dot reindex. You just take what you want and then leave the rest. Okay, that's what you have. You can also drop a column just by using the command drop. Okay. Um, so for row, you can just say which rows you want and then the rest are dropped. And for column, you can do the same. But another way to drop a column is just by, if you know the name, you just type the name there. Sorry, I think I was sorry. One more step. What we were doing here was to, yeah, you can drop a row by just selecting the rows that you want or the columns that you want. But also you can drop a column by using this argument. Okay, this doing it this way. Okay, but you have to specify an extra uh, input here where you say, yeah, this is equal to one. Okay, I'm just gonna leave that. Now, okay, let's finish up. I think we are taking more time than we wanted. You can do some calculations as well, just as we did in the case of series. You can, if you have this data frame here, you can decide to maybe square everything. Okay, so for example, 2 squared is now 4. You can decide to divide everything by 2, and you can take logarithm. Okay, so you have to be careful when you take logarithm because, for example, I know that 0 is here, and you can take the log of 0. So if I try to do that, I'm gonna get a warning. Okay, so this gives me minus infinity, which actually does make sense. Yeah? So it didn't just say an NA and it gives you a minus infinity, which makes sense. And I know why this happened because I'm trying to take the log of 0. But the good thing is that you can, okay, so as in this case of series, you can actually add 1. Okay, I'm not saying that this is what you do in your data set when you start working. I'm just saying if we added 1 here, you can also add 1. So let's say, let's just do this here. We do is divided by 2 and then we add 1. Okay, so we can do that. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, let's do that here too. We add 1 and then we just take the log. Now there is no problem because we're no longer taking the log of 0. Okay, right. I think this is where we want to end today. Tomorrow we're going to continue with doing functions applied to data frames. Okay, bye for now.